Welcome back to the deep dive. We are picking up right where the tension broke.
Right where it shattered, really.
Yeah, exactly. If you were with us for the last session, you know the garage door went down.
Yep.
That sound, that literal metallic slam, was effectively the starting gun for the end of the series. Today, we are dissecting Season 5, Episode 10, titled Buried.
Buried. It's such a heavy word.
It is. And if the previous deep dive covered the explosion, you know, the moment Hank confronts Walt.
The fallout is what we get today.
Right, this is the fallout. It's the absolute scramble for survival.
And Buried is just a perfect title for this hour of television. It's literal, obviously.
Right, there's a lot of actual digging in this one.
A ton of digging. But it's also deeply psychological. Everyone is burying something here.
Oh.
You have Walt burying the money, Skyler burying the truth.
Hank.
Yeah, Hank tries to bury his own conflict of interest.
Which we will definitely get into. Because usually, in a crime drama, when the detective finally catches the criminal...
The aha moment.
Right, when the aha moment happens, that's the climax. That is the end of the movie. But here...
Here, it's just the beginning of the end.
Exactly. Hank, knowing the truth, is just the inciting incident for a completely different kind of show.
We aren't watching a cat and mouse game about meth cooking anymore.
No.
We are watching a domestic war, a family tearing itself apart.
And the game has fundamentally changed from, you know, how do we cook to how do we survive each other?
Which brings us to our mission for today. What we have in front of us is a stack of sources. We've got the detailed plot breakdown from Wikipedia, some great production notes about locations and music, and the critical reception from back when it aired in 2013.
So our goal is to unpack how this specific hour of television shifts that dynamic.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the strategic errors.
And there's so many of them.
So many. Errors made by literally every major player on the board.
It's basically a comedy of errors, but with life in prison consequences.
Let's jump right into that cold open, or rather, the immediate aftermath of that garage confrontation.
Yeah.
Because the core conflict is set.
The secret is out.
The secret is out, at least to Hank. And Walt is in his car, and he is frantic.
Which is so rare to see.
He's trying to call Skyler, dialing and dialing.
This is one of those rare moments where we see Heisenberg completely on the back foot.
Right. Usually Walt controls the flow of information.
Always. He manipulates the narrative. He's the one knocking, right?
Okay.
But here, he's dialing and he can't get through.
He has totally lost the initiative.
And the reason he can't get through is because Hank beat him to it.
Yes. Hank is already on the phone with Skyler.
Which is a crucial detail for you to keep in mind. Hank did not hesitate.
Not for a second.
He left that garage, probably still reeling from the shock, and immediately made the move to secure the witness.
He's moving with intense speed.
But not necessarily with precision, as we are going to see very shortly.
So they agree to meet. And the location they choose is fascinating to me. They don't meet at the police station.
No.
They don't meet at a safe house. They meet at a diner.
A public diner.
Bright lights, laminated menus, you know, waitresses pouring coffee in the background. It's such a distinct setting for this show. Why do you think the writers chose a public diner for this specific conversation?
I think it creates a pressure cooker environment. You have the most volatile, private, life-destroying conversation imaginable.
Literally, my husband is a drug lord.
Exactly. And you have to have it in whispers.
You can't scream.
You can't make a scene. It forces both of them to suppress their emotions, which just cranks the tension so much higher for the viewer.
So Hank is sitting there in a booth. Let's analyze his approach here, because this is the first time he is seeing Skyler since he found the poetry book in the bathroom. How does he treat her?
This is where Hank makes his very first major strategic error.
Okay, break that down.
He looks at Skyler across that table, and he doesn't see an accomplice.
He sees a victim.
He sees a victim. He assumes, based entirely on his profile of Walt as this absolute monster, that Skyler has been trapped in a hostage situation for the last year.
He literally reaches across the table and grabs her hand.
He's gentle.
He's trying to be the comforting, protective brother-in-law.
He's playing the white knight. He really thinks he's there to rescue her. He says, I know, it's over. You're safe now.
But then
he drops a piece of information that completely destabilizes the entire situation.
Oh man, this part is so hard to watch.
He tells her, I know the cancer is back.
He assumes she already knows.
Right. He thinks he's giving her, in a twisted way, good news. Like, don't worry, the bad man is dying anyway.
But Skyler didn't know.
She had no idea.
So in the span of maybe 30 seconds, she finds out that her DEA brother-in-law knows their massive meth secret and that her husband is likely dying again.
Her world just collapses from two totally different directions at once.
And you can see it on her face. Anna Gunn's acting in this scene is just incredible. She physically crumbles in the booth.
But Hank doesn't give her any time to process it.
None at all.
This is where he pivots hard from concerned brother to beat cop.
He pulls out the tape recorder.
And that right there is the exact moment he loses her.
It happens so fast. He just plunks the recorder on the diner table and says, we need to get this on the record before he lawyers up.
It's a massive tactical failure.
Huge.
He treats her like a witness he needs to lock down right this second, not a family member he needs to comfort. He's thinking about the case.
He's thinking about admissible evidence.
Exactly. He's rushing her because he is terrified Walt is going to outmaneuver him again.
But by rushing, he scares her off.
Because Skyler is incredibly smart. She picks up on something in his tone right away.
She realizes this isn't just about justice.
No, it's deeply personal. She looks at him and sees that he is on a crusade. He doesn't just want to arrest Walt, he wants to destroy him.
And Skyler realizes that Hank's protection is entirely conditional.
Right, he's not offering her immunity.
No, he's offering her a confession booth. If she talks into that little black box, she is admitting to money laundering, conspiracy, racketeering, everything.
She goes to prison, and she loses the kids.
She realizes she's not a victim in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. She's a tool to get Walt.
So she panics.
But it's a very specific, weird panic. She doesn't just say no. She starts chanting.
Am I under arrest?
Well, before that, she starts saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Right, the chanting.
Over and over again. What is she doing there? Is she confessing?
It's brilliant writing. It's an admission of guilt without actually admitting to a specific crime.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is she sorry for leaving the diner? Is she sorry she didn't tell him sooner? Is she sorry for being a meth dealer's wife?
Right. It's ambiguous enough that it can't be easily used against her in a court of law.
But it conveys her total, absolute desperation to Hank.
And then she starts yelling, am I under arrest? Am I under arrest?
Which forces Hank's hand in public.
Because he can't say yes. He has no warrant.
So she flees. She literally runs out of the diner and drives away.
And I think we need to pause here and really ask you, the listener, to reflect on that specific choice. Why does she run? Is it just raw fear of Walt?
It's the flight response in its purest form. But psychologically, I think she runs because if she stays and speaks into that recorder, the nightmare becomes permanent.
It becomes concrete.
Exactly. As long as she stays silent, as long as she runs away, there is still some ambiguity. She can still pretend, maybe, that there is a way out of this without going to jail.
Silence is her only shield left.
And she holds up that shield tight.
So while Skyler is running from the law, Walt is running to the lawyer.
He heads straight to Saul Goodman's office.
Right. And Walt is furious.
He's completely enraged. He feels like he is losing control of his soldiers. He's mad that Skyler went to meet Hank before talking to him first.
He feels scooped.
And
He's betrayed. And Saul is looking at this entire situation with his usual sleazy pragmatism.
he sees the board very clearly. He does.
Hey.
And he drops one of the most famous lines of the entire season. He looks at Walt and asks if he's considered sending Hank to Belize.
Belize. It sounds so lovely. A tropical vacation.
I'll send you to Belize.
But we know what he means,
Mm-hmm.
and Saul clarifies it just in case.
Mm-hmm.
He says, like Mike.
That is a chilling moment.
It really is.
Because it confirms that Saul knows, or at least strongly suspects, that Mike Ehrmantraut didn't just skip town on a bus.
Right. He knows Walt killed him.
And he's looking at Walt essentially saying, you killed your partner when he became a problem. Why is your brother-in-law any different?
He's a threat. Eliminate the threat.
To Saul, it's just a math problem. Hank equals danger. Danger must be removed.
But Walt pushes back hard on this. He admonishes Saul. He gets right in his face and says, Hank is family.
Which is the absolute core of Walter White's delusion.
Explain that.
We are talking about a man who has poisoned a child.
Right.
He has blown up a nursing home. He has put his own family in mortal danger repeatedly. But he draws a hard line at directly murdering a blood relative.
It's wildly hypocritical, isn't it? It's like, I can ruin his career, I can lie to his face for a year, I can pay for his physical therapy with drug money.
But I won't shoot him.
Exactly.
It's all about his self-image. Walt desperately needs to believe he is the patriarch, the provider.
The good guy deep down.
Right. He needs to believe that everything he has done, all the horrific violence and manipulation, was strictly for the family.
So if he kills Hank...
If he kills Hank, he destroys that entire justification. If he kills Hank, he has to finally admit that he is the villain, that he is a destroyer of families, not a protector.
He can't kill Hank because he can't handle the truth about himself.
Precisely.
So murder is off the table, at least for now.
Right.
But the money is the immediate priority. He has to secure the legacy.
We aren't talking about a shoebox of cash tucked under a bed.
No, we are talking about an industrial, comical amount of currency.
The logistics here are staggering.
He brings in Huel and Kubi, who are essentially Saul's B team, to help him move it. And they literally load the cash into 7 55-gallon drums.
7 massive drums. Just think about the physical weight of that.
It's got to be thousands of pounds.
It's no longer an asset at this point. It's a physical burden. It's a massive liability.
So Walt rents a van, loads up the drums, and drives way out into the desert. He goes to the Tohajiilee Indian Reservation.
And our source material points out a massive, beautiful callback here.
Yes, for the superfans, this specific geography is sacred.
This is the exact same spot where Walt and Jesse cooked their very first batch of crystal meth in the RV in the pilot episode.
It is a total full-circle moment.
Narrative symmetry at its absolute finest. Walt returns to the Genesis, the place where he literally broke bad.
To bury the fruits of his labor.
He started with nothing in that desert, just a desperate ambition and a terrible cancer diagnosis. Now he returns with millions upon millions of dollars.
But he's just as desperate.
Maybe even more desperate.
The scene feels like a graveyard. He's out there burying his life's work.
He is, and the way he secures the location of this graveyard is genuinely clever.
Right, he doesn't draw a pirate map with a red X on it.
No, he uses a lottery ticket.
Explain the mechanics of that for the listeners who might not have caught the detail. How does a lottery ticket work as a map?
So he uses a handheld GPS unit to get the exact latitude and longitude coordinates of the burial site.
Okay.
Then he drives back to civilization, goes to a convenience store, and plays those exact coordinate numbers on a standard lottery ticket.
So if anyone finds the ticket like Skyler or Walter Jr. or even the police,
they just think, oh, sad Walter, he's dying of cancer and buying a lottery ticket hoping to leave a little nest egg for his family.
It's brilliant domestic camouflage.
Exactly. They don't realize the ticket itself is the jackpot. It's a personalized encryption key that only he understands.
Now, there's a really fun piece of trivia in the production notes about those specific coordinates on the ticket.
Yes, if you are a fan who likes to plug numbers from TV shows into Google Maps.
You don't expect to find barrels of cash out in the desert.
No, the coordinates on the ticket actually point to the Q Studios in Albuquerque.
That is fantastic.
It's where the show itself is filmed. So, metaphorically, Walt is burying his money under the actual soundstage where his story is being told.
It's a clever little wink from the production team to the audience.
But I want to talk about the atmosphere of this burial scene itself, because it goes on for a long time.
It does. There's almost no dialogue for minutes. It's just Walt digging in the dirt.
And the music, the source material highlights the specific track playing. It's called Kwame Nukian.
Right. It's a remix by Chancha via Circuito.
Right.
And it's not your typical tense action movie score.
Not at all. It's not driving strings or heavy percussion. It's rhythmic. It's repetitive.
It's almost hypnotic.
It sounds like pure labor.
It really does.
It puts the viewer in a trance alongside Walt. It emphasizes the sheer physical exhaustion of the task. Walt isn't a criminal mastermind in this scene.
He's a manual laborer.
He is working himself to the bone under the baking desert sun to put this money in the ground. It strips away all the dark glamour of Heisenberg and leaves just a sick, dying man digging a hole.
And while Walt is digging holes in the desert dirt, the family war back in civilization is getting extremely physical.
We have to talk about the sisters.
Marie and Skyler.
This is one of the most painful scenes in the entire series to watch.
Without a doubt.
Because up until now, Marie has been, well, she's been Marie.
Right. She's the comic relief. She's the purple-obsessed, slightly annoying, kleptomaniac sister.
But not here. She goes straight to Skyler's house. She knows the truth now because Hank told her. But she desperately needs to hear it from Skyler's own mouth.
She's looking for a lifeline, isn't she?
She is. She wants Skyler to say, I didn't know, I'm a victim. Walt held a gun to my head and tricked me. She wants to save her sister.
But then she asks the critical question, the timeline question. She looks at Skyler and asks, did you know before Hank was shot?
And that is the absolute pivot point of their relationship. Remember, Hank was shot by the Salamanca cousins way back in season 3.
He nearly died.
He spent months in grueling physical therapy. Marie was emptying his bedpans. She was terrified every single day. It was the hardest time of her life.
So if Skyler knew before that happened,
Then Skyler is complicit in Hank's near-death experience, and Skyler doesn't deny it.
she can't. She just tears up and says, "I'm so sorry."
Which is a full confession.
And Marie just snaps. She slaps her across the face.
Hard. It's a shocking moment. We have never seen physical violence between these two women.
It's the literal sound of their sisterhood breaking in half. But Marie doesn't just stop at a slap. She escalates the situation drastically.
She tries to take the baby.
She marches into the nursery and goes for Holly.
This is Marie's psychology completely spiraling out of control. She looks around that house, she looks at Skyler, and she just sees total contamination.
A house of lies.
Exactly. She thinks this is a criminal enterprise. This is not a home, it's a cartel front. It is not safe for an innocent child. She genuinely, deeply believes she is rescuing Holly.
But legally speaking, it's an attempted kidnapping, right?
100%. Skyler is fighting her in the hallway, screaming, "Give me my baby." It's utter chaos.
And who steps in to stop it?
Hank.
Hank enters the house. And this is so interesting to me because back in the diner, Hank was the pure aggressor. He was pushing Skyler hard. Here, he's the de-escalator. He forces Marie to give the baby back. Why the shift?
Because at the end of the day, Hank is a cop. He knows the law inside and out.
Right.
You can't just steal a baby because you don't agree with the parents' ethics. He knows that if they walk out that door with Holly, Skyler immediately calls the real police.
If Skyler calls the police on them.
Hank looks like the unstable aggressor. He completely loses the moral high ground, and way more importantly, he potentially ruins his entire legal case against Walt.
That makes total sense. He has to do this strictly by the book from here on out.
He's protecting the investigation at all costs, so they leave without the baby. But that car ride home...
Oh, Marie is completely changed.
She is a different person. She's staring out the passenger window, just seething with rage. She turns to Hank and simply says, "You have to get him."
It gave me chills.
Me too. Her allegiance has shifted completely. It's no longer about safety or family. It's about pure vengeance.
She wants Walt to pay for what he did to them.
The family unit isn't just fractured at this point. It's at full-scale war.
So while the White and Schrader family is imploding in the suburbs, the actual business, the physical mechanism of the meth empire, is still running out in the desert.
The spice must flow.
Exactly. But middle management is changing. We really have to look at the scene with Lydia and Declan.
Right, because remember, Walt is out. He formally retired. But the machine he built is incredibly hungry. It needs to be fed constantly.
And Lydia Rodarte-Quayle is the corporate face of that machine. She's the one supplying the precursor, the methylamine.
But she is not happy with the current state of affairs.
She visits Declan's desert lab, which, by the way, is literally a school bus buried in the dirt, and she sounds like a disgruntled health inspector.
She's complaining about the working conditions, the lack of ventilation, and most importantly, the product quality.
It's classic Lydia. She brings this frantic corporate HR energy to a violent drug cartel.
She's down there in her designer heels, worried about purity percentages and cleanliness in a dirty, underground bunker.
She wants the product to be Heisenberg level.
Yeah.
But Declan's crew just can't deliver that blue magic.
So she proposes a very corporate solution. She wants to bring in an outside consultant. Todd, Walt's former protege.
Because Todd learned directly from the master. Lydia thinks Todd can come in and bring the purity back up to standard. But Declan
is not hearing a word of it. He's got massive ego.
He refuses to step aside.
He absolutely refuses to hire some polite kid to teach his hardened guys how to cook meth.
And this right here is Declan's fatal error.
Yeah.
He vastly underestimates Lydia.
Everyone underestimates Lydia.
He thinks she's just a nervous business lady who doesn't understand how the streets work. He doesn't realize she has already made alternative arrangements.
The ambush. It's so brutal.
Todd's Uncle Jack and his heavily armed neo-Nazi gang are lying in wait right above them. When Declan refuses to play ball, the shooting starts.
It's a total massacre. Jack's crew wipes out Declan and his entire team in a matter of seconds.
It's highly efficient, violent, and incredibly decisive.
But let's look at what this signals for the broader story. Why do the writers need this specific scene in an episode so focused on family drama?
It signals a massive shift in the nature of the antagonist.
Right. Think about the progression of villains in this show. We started with Tuco, who was violent, unpredictable, and crazy.
Then we had Gus Fring.
Gus was calculated, professional, almost corporate in his evil.
Then we had Walt himself, egomaniacal, brilliant evil.
And now we have Jack.
Jack is totally different.
Jack is just chaotic. He's a thug. He has no underlying code. He has no respect for the delicate art of the cook.
He's just brute force with a gun.
Exactly. It feels like the highly sophisticated empire that Walt carefully built is just being overrun by barbarians.
That is a great way to put it. The vacuum Walt left when he retired didn't just stay empty.
It sucked in something so much worse. The business continues, but now it's in the hands of totally unpredictable, incredibly violent men.
Which raises the stakes for everyone left alive.
Nobody is safe anymore.
Let's transition back to Walt.
Yeah.
He's done digging his holes in the desert. He finally drives back home. It's late at night.
And he is absolutely exhausted.
He walks into his kitchen, and he takes that lottery ticket with the coordinates.
And he posts it right on the fridge with a magnet.
Right next to the kids' colorful drawings.
Again, hiding his darkest secret in plain sight.
But then the adrenaline wears off. He goes into the bathroom and he just collapses.
He hits the floor hard.
This is the physical toll finally catching up with him, right?
It's everything at once. The cancer is back, the brutal chemotherapy is weakening his system, and he just spent a full day doing intense, hard labor in the desert heat. His body is just failing him.
And when he finally wakes up hours later, Skyler is sitting there waiting for him. And this is the conversation that defines the entire rest of this series for the two of them.
Walt makes an actual offer here.
It's a surrender. He looks at her and says, "I'll give myself up."
He says he'll turn himself into Hank, but on one very specific condition.
The money stays with the family.
The money he just spent all day burying. He wants to know, he needs to know, that all of the horror wasn't for absolutely nothing.
It's basically a plea. Let me go to jail. Let me die in a cell. Just please promise me you'll keep the money for the kids.
He's trying to salvage the one single thing he thinks gives his ruined life any meaning, the financial legacy.
And here is where I really want you, the listener, to pay close attention. Because Skyler's reaction here is shocking.
Totally unexpected.
You'd think she would jump at this offer. Yes, turn yourself in, take the blame, end the nightmare right now.
But she doesn't.
She doesn't. She looks at him, totally calm, and says, "Hank has no evidence."
Hank has no evidence. She actively rejects the surrender.
This is Skyler truly, finally breaking bad.
In this specific moment, she makes a cold, highly calculated business decision.
She realizes that if Walt turns himself in today, the government swoops in and seizes everything.
The money is gone, the house is seized, their reputation is permanently destroyed in the community.
They are left with absolutely nothing but public shame.
So she decides to bet on the lie.
She doubles down on the criminality.
She decides that keeping a secret and keeping the buried millions is ultimately worth the massive risk. She looks at the chessboard and she sees that Hank is currently bluffing.
He doesn't have the hard proof yet.
So she tells Walt, keep your mouth shut.
That is profound. She consciously chooses the drug money over honesty. She chooses to maintain the ongoing criminal conspiracy because she is essentially the sunk cost fallacy personified.
She has sacrificed way too much of her soul to turn back now and walk away empty-handed. She officially becomes a full, willing partner in the cover-up.
Not out of fear of Walt anymore.
No, out of pure strategy.
So now the lines are drawn. We have Walt and Skyler fully aligned in silence. And we have Hank on the other side, knowing the absolute truth, but completely lacking the proof.
Let's look at Hank's professional dilemma here, because people wonder, why doesn't he just march into the DEA office right now and announce it? He knows it's Walt.
Right. Why not just blow the whistle?
He can't. Think about his political position. He is the ASC, the Assistant Special Agent in charge. He has been obsessively chasing the ghost of Heisenberg for over a year.
And the guy was literally under his nose the entire time.
He was pouring him drinks at Sunday family barbecues.
Right. So if he admits that now, without a bulletproof case.
He looks incredibly incompetent at best and actively complicit at worst. His career is over the second the words leave his mouth. He'll be fired in disgrace, stripped of his pension, maybe even federally prosecuted for aiding and abetting.
So he's trapped in his own investigation.
The only way he survives this professionally, and really the only way he satisfies his own bruised ego, is if he walks into the DEA office with a slam-dunk, unbreakable case.
He needs irrefutable proof.
He needs to be the one to personally put the handcuffs on Walter White, to prove to his bosses he wasn't weird of it.
He desperately needs a massive win to offset the incoming public embarrassment.
Yes. But Maria's pushing him hard. She's terrified. She tells him, you have to tell them at work. What if they find out you knew and didn't say anything?
That's a valid fear. So Hank agrees to go back to work and act normal. He's walking an incredibly thin tightrope.
But just as he's trying to figure out his next move, a massive gift falls right into his lap.
The Jesse Pinkman twist.
A wild card.
We have to rewind to the very beginning of the episode for just a second to set this up. The cold open showed an elderly man picking up stacks of cash on a neighborhood playground, right?
Right, because Jesse was driving around tossing bundles of money out his car window like a sad paperboy in the previous episode.
He completely cracked under the gill.
And we finally see where he ended up. He is lying on a playground merry-go-round.
Just spinning in slow circles.
It's such a powerful, sad visual metaphor for his character. He's dizzy, he's sick to his stomach, he's going absolutely nowhere.
He is literally surrounded by millions of dollars of blood money that he can't even stand to look at anymore.
So fast forward to the station. Hank's partner, Steve Gomez, casually mentions that they have Jesse Pinkman detained in an interrogation room.
Because he was throwing millions of dollars around a suburb.
And you can just see the light bulb go on over Hank's head.
He realizes the missing connection.
Jesse is the weak link in the Heisenberg armor. Jesse is the loose thread. Hank realizes, if Skyler won't talk to me, maybe the broken kid will.
Jesse knows everything. The labs, the murders, the money.
But Hank does something very interesting here. He doesn't immediately tell the DEA. He doesn't tell his trusted partner, Gomez, hey, that's our Heisenberg guy.
No, he keeps it entirely to himself. He says, let me talk to him, but leave him to me.
He wants to interrogate Jesse completely alone, off the official radar.
And that is the cliffhanger of the episode. Hank walking into that interrogation room, closing the door behind him, he sees a golden opportunity to get his star witness.
And this brilliant setup establishes the dynamic for the final phase of the show. Hank needs a weapon to fight Walt.
And Jesse Pinkman is that weapon.
The two people Walt has manipulated and hurt the most are about to form a very uneasy alliance.
It's just incredible television writing. All the pieces are actively moving into place for the final showdown. Before we wrap up the narrative, though, let's quickly look at how this episode was received by the world. It's interesting to note the viewership numbers.
Yeah, the viewership actually dipped slightly for this one.
It did. 4.77 million viewers. Which, to be clear, is still a massive number for a cable drama in 2013, but it was down from the previous episode, which pulled in almost 6 million.
The mid-season premiere, Blood Money, had that massive pent-up hype. Everyone tuned in to see what happened after Hank found the book. It's pretty natural to see a little drop-off in the second week as the story settles in.
But the critical quality certainly didn't drop.
Not at all. The critics loved it.
TV Line specifically gave Anna Gunn, who plays Skyler, an honorable mention for Performer of the Week.
Deservedly so, I think. That diner scene alone. The sheer panic in her eyes when she realizes she's trapped.
It is a masterclass in subtle acting. She conveyed so much internal terror without barely raising her voice.
And Thomas Schnauz, the writer of the episode, was nominated for a Writers Guild of America award for this specific script.
It's an incredibly tightly written hour of television. It successfully balances so many moving parts. Walt, Skyler, Hank, Marie, Lydia, Jesse, without ever feeling cluttered or rushed. Every single scene serves a structural purpose.
There's also a ranking from The Ringer that caught my eye in our source notes. They ranked every single Breaking Bad episode from worst to best, and they put Buried at number 52 out of 62.
Which seems incredibly low to me.
It really does. 52nd. That's near the very bottom of the pack. Why do you think they ranked it so low? I think it's because Buried is what critics often call a bridge episode. It's fundamentally a setup episode.
It doesn't have the explosive train heist sequence or the emotional devastation of something like Ozymandias, which is coming up.
Right. Its primary job is to diligently move the pieces around the board so the big checkmate can happen later.
That's fair. It's doing the heavy lifting, the narrative plumbing, to get us safely to the grand finale. But without this episode, the rest of the season just doesn't work.
Precisely. You absolutely need to bury the money in the desert to have the conflict over the coordinates later. You need Skyler to actively choose a side to heighten the tragedy of her fall.
This is the foundation of the end.
So let's summarize what we've learned. What are the big takeaways from Buried?
First, the money is literally underground. It's off the board for now, but its location, that specific lottery ticket, is the key to everything moving forward.
Second, the family is irrevocably fractured. Marie and Skyler are now bitter enemies. Hank and Walt are circling each other. There is absolutely no going back to the happy backyard barbecues.
And third, the meth business has evolved. Or really, it has devolved. It's in the hands of Jack and the neo-Nazis now.
The danger level has spiked massively because the new bosses are violent and entirely unpredictable.
And finally, the truth itself. We talked about the title, Buried. Walt buries the cash. Skyler tries to bury the evidence. Hank tries to bury his own conflict of interest to save his job.
But the profound thing about burying things, especially dark secrets and literal bodies, is that they rarely stay down forever.
The truth always works its way to the surface. It really emphasizes the steep cost of keeping those secrets.
It does. And it raises a really provocative question for you, the listener.
Right. I want everyone listening today to really think about Skyler's ultimate choice in the bathroom.
It's the pivotal moral moment of the episode. Imagine you are standing in her shoes. You know your husband's cancer is back. You know there are millions of dollars buried for your children's future. And you know the police have nothing concrete yet.
Do you take his deal? Do you let him surrender to Hank and end the madness right then and there?
Or do you do exactly what she did? Do you bet everything on the silence?
It's so easy to judge her from the safety of our couches, but when you're staring at a life of total financial ruin versus a very real chance at getting away with it, it's a terrifying dilemma.
It is. She bet that they could outsmart Hank one last time. And that single bet sets the stage for all the tragedy that follows.
And on that heavy note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. The silence right now is deafening, but the storm is definitely coming.
And we'll be right here to break it down when it hits.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.